Thank you, Pastor.
Bless you,
Give a hand clap for the pastor. I thank God. Thank God for Brother Moulton. We go way back. I mean, probably before we ever even knew Christ. Uh, and I've watched his progression, and he's watched me grow in God. And so I I love this brother, and I know for a pastor, it's something to come and have to give, be expected to give something to somebody. It's easy to sit at the table and eat, but the one in the kitchen, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes they so tired they don't want to eat their own food, you know. But I thank God for him allowing me to come here today to speak about something that I think is just as pressing as um, it's just as pressing, at least it's been pressing on my spirit as much as the things of salvation spiritually pressed on my spirit. So when I got saved and when I learned how to pray, I tried to give everything to God. I did. I tried, man. I think most people are like that. But I tried to sell out. Like whatever it is, we go. That's it. If you took the time to find me, God, we're gonna do this. And the way we've been raised in the church, we've been taught to be just spiritual. But if y'all have noticed, some of y'all that got a little age on you, in the last 30 years, you don't hear anybody preaching about being spiritual. You don't hear about fasting, you don't hear about praying, you don't hear, it's just about God is somebody, God is like the tooth fairy, or God is like Santa Claus. You go to God for your, I need this, God, I need that. It ain't about seeing yourself progress from, man, I used to be, but look at what God did for me and he could do the same. It's not even about that. Now we're sort of in a no man's land. We're in a sort of a no man's land. And on top of that, being black people in this country, we live paycheck to paycheck. We don't even have the luxury to be on the, what they used to call the prosperity movement. We don't even have that done fizzled out, hadn't it? Now we back to having to hit our knees. But let me tell you what God been dealing with me about. So I'm like, Lord, I'm saved, you know, and you saved my mother. And every time I get a chance, I'm trying to get somebody to the altar to repent. I said, but God, why these cops get to just shoot us in the head like this? Now, I ask questions like that because if he my God in every single thing, right? Why are we poor? Why are our neighborhoods like this? God, I need to understand, if you God, we need some stability. We can't just keep running back. Lord, just give me this. We can't keep doing that. Can't keep doing it. And I asked God about this, and me and Aaron Thomas, another brother I grew up with, I was saying, the problem is that our ancestors, our granddaddies, they took their religion to the world. They took it to the streets. It was not only about living saved. They were talking about, hey, government, you're going to have to treat us right. We God's children too. That's where we get that from Dr. King. You notice Malcolm X was a minister too? His daddy even came out the Christian church. He just ended up in Islam because he felt like the Christian church wasn't dealing with none of the issues. Marcus Garvey, very devout Christian. Elijah Muhammad, all of these, and they happen to be, all their roots come from Georgia. So Georgia is a very spiritual state to the world. Because as Georgia goes, so goes the country. All of these major civil rights people and all these Nation of Islam, they came from Georgia. Well, as the world goes, as the America goes, so goes the world. So if black people that look like me and you ain't free here, where else you going? Ain't nowhere else you gonna be free. Russia don't want you. The Mexicans are jumping the border to leave where they at. And if you go over there, they don't treat the black Mexicans right. I'm saying all that to lead up to something. In my spirit, I believe there's going to be a great dearth in the land. What I mean, a great devastation. Well, we know what happened with COVID. I believe that was a test run. I believe everything we reading about is coming upon the earth. Well, while we're here, we got to figure out how do we. Our granddaddies was better at this. They didn't get a chance to look at the flat to have the flat screen TV. They just believed they could have it. We got the flat screen TVs, and now we don't want to get up off the couch. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, somehow we got to do something, man. I'm saved now. I could care less about a senator, or I could care less about a congressperson. I can speak truth to power. I could care less about your title. You got to do us right. I'm going to put this before my God. You going to do us right, or we going to do everything to cripple. We going to pull out of this. I'm sick of being sick and tired. I see the Democrats and on the national level, they're not doing anything for us. But what we don't understand is what they won't do for us on the national level can be done on the state level. Because it was the states that owned our forefathers. It was this right on this ground we own now. We don't know what was right here on this ground. We don't know how many prayers was prayed before this building was here. Before they had paved roads in Bremen. It was some black folks saying, good God, can you just get these folks off of us, Lord? Them prayers don't die. They still in eternity. We are the personification of freedom on the earth. No other group of black people on the planet, once they got free, they turn around and try to free everybody else. I don't care if you in South Africa. I don't care if you in Haiti. Everybody else, when they get free, let's say Jamaica, for instance, if you of a certain hue, you got to be our servants. I'm serious. They oppress their own people. They do it in China. They do everywhere. We are different, and that's why I believe God deals with us different. That's why we don't have all these flags represent a nation. Tell me where's the Black American flag? Where's it at in here? Okay, the green, black, but I'm saying recognized on it's not recognized. So we come up with it, but we hadn't got them to say, hey, on paper, this is your piece of land that flag. We don't have a land that we don't print our own money with our faces, and we don't have a military. So in this country, even though we've made strides more than any other group of black people, and it's because of God, now we're at a position of a standstill. And one of the solutions, I believe God has been telling me, one of the solutions is you got to make them pay up that money that your granddaddies didn't work for. It's some money in this country, and they cutting checks to Ukraine. They putting the illegals. They put them in hotels. They giving them no driver license. That's okay. No credit. I don't care what credit you had back there. When you get over here, we'll wipe that clean. Because we want you to replace these Negroes that keep riding every time they talk about freedom. The whole world want to march about freedom. We're gonna let y'all replace them. So what I believe God is letting me know is you got to push this thing, and it's gonna come from the grassroots, from the nappy roots. So how many of y'all heard of the reparations initiative out of California? Have y'all heard about that? So they put together a reparations task force to study how much money black people have lost because of discrimination. And they came up with like 1.2 million. The average black, if he lives and dies, he's lost 1.2 million because of what happened to his ancestors. And they said we should pay blacks about 3 million. They didn't expect that. They didn't expect nobody to come with no numbers like that. And it ain't just money, it's land. They can forgive all our debt. They can say, hey, your house payment paid. Something that we don't have to keep being paycheck to paycheck. They say by 2053, we will be at a zero deficit. Meaning black people right now, for every dollar a black person have, a white person have $2,300. That's the wealth gap. We can't compete. There'll be something like another slavery. It'll be an economic something gonna go on for them babies. We might 20 years from now, we might be on a cane, but they gonna be strong. They ain't gonna have no because they bring in. And if you got a good job, you're gonna have to be competing with Juan Julio. Yeah, you got to be competing with your darker skinned counterpart speaking. They gonna you got to speak. That's what they're doing. So Georgia has come up with a bill that's that's been produced to the Georgia legislature by I think his name is Roger Bruce. It's Bill HB 89. It's the exact same bill that's in California. And the guest today, her name is Tamara Johnson Shealy. She has been hearing the same thing from God. And she is internet savvy. So she set up a website and everything. And I was introduced to her from Bernice King, Dr. King's daughter. This is somebody I had been knowing for years from some work I did. And so Bernice was like, I'm getting calls from different people about reparation. Well, God told me to go say something to Bernice about reparation. And then she started getting calls. I'm saying, don't you know the church got to get ahead of this because they're going to put some people ahead of it that's going to destroy it. They're going to try to make sure this money go to all of the immigrants. And it'll be like affirmative action, which is supposed to be for the descendants of slavery, but it benefited white women more than us. It'll be like that. So anyway, she is going to explain to you what she's trying to accomplish or what we're trying to come in. We're trying to put the church back at the forefront of what happens to us as a people. It's enough for the rappers. The rappers, they don't destroy our community. You know what I'm saying? They don't put drug dealers in the movie. It used to be men of God that was doing it. And that's what it's supposed to be now. Eventually, there's going to be a rally at the Capitol. And as many people from as many of the churches that are willing to sign on for your future, for them babies, we're trying to bring some people so that they will push this bill through. It's a small effort, but the Bible says, despise not small beginnings. I don't see it as small because when God give me contacts and them contacts come, I I see I see something much, 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 much bigger. And I told Brother Felix, I said, don't you know your platform, you prepared to be bigger, your voice, your education, your level. And I don't say that just to be puffing nobody up because I don't care nothing about that either. I'm just saying, as long as your heart right, God could, it's the preachers that have brought us to a place of being the richest, most educated group of black people on the planet, of all the blacks. And we have no flag, no military, no nothing, no landmass. Don't you see what we've been riding on grace? So she's going to explain, and she's going to break down what we're up against, and I'll close out right quick with just 30 seconds maybe. All right. This is Tamara Johnson Shealy.
Good morning, church. Or afternoon, right? Look, I'm sorry. Y'all say this with me. Slavery, Jim Crow, black codes, convict leasing, no New Deal, no GI Bill, redlining, war on drugs, mass incarceration. Now say this with me. Reparations. Say it one more time. Reparations. Say it for the third time, reparations. My name is Tamara Johnson Shealy, and I lead the advocacy efforts for Reparations Sunday. And Reparations Sunday is exactly what he said. This is our initiative to engage the churches in our fight for reparations. During the civil rights movement, the church undergirded us every step of the way. We cannot do this without you. We need the congregation. We need the church. We need the pastors. We need you. We no longer have affirmative action. That's gone. How are we going to get policy specific to those of us who are descendants of chattel slavery? Because not all skin folks are kin folks. We don't need no more black this and black that. That has been taken advantage of by those who have come into this country and been eaten off our plates. So now, how are we going to get what we need as descendants of chattel slavery? We got to have real policy, and that policy is reparations. Reparations is all encompassing. It's land, it's money, because they're gonna cut the check. I'm gonna say that again. They're gonna cut the check. Housing, education, it's our total repair. Mental health, we are not all right. We live with trauma in our DNA. Our children are not okay, and we are not okay. America has to atone for what is done to us. So that is our initiative, is to get the church back on board the same way the church was on board with the civil rights movement. So our ask, Pastor, is that is that the church commit to the fight, the congregation commits to this fight, get on our website, be a part of what we're doing, commit as a congregation to watch our lecture series. Our lecture series is, how do you have this conversation about reparations? We can't speak from a place of emotion. Yes, it hurts. It makes me mad. It's hard to talk to white people about this and not get mad. But we got to get out of our emotions and we got to talk economics. This is dollars and cents. This will move the needle for the nation when it's done right. So there's a way to have a conversation, and we need the congregation to understand how to have this conversation without being so emotional. Talk data, talk economics. So commit to watching the lecture series that's on our website. Pastor, if God so leads you, we ask that you preach a sermon about reparations so we can share it with others, so we can share your ministry with those who are following the reparations movement. Join us at the Capitol. Like Cosby mentioned, join us at the Capitol. Session starts this coming January. This is House Bill 89, introduced by Representative Roger Bruce. This bill can pass. Georgia has the largest number of Black legislators in the nation. Let me say that one more time, because we don't recognize the power that we have in this red state. Yeah, we have a governor and a House and a Senate that's majority Republican, but we have the largest Black caucus in these United States. If that power is wielded correctly, we can move mountains. So we have to force our legislators. So join us at the Capitol when session starts. As a church, as a congregation, walk alongside us and knock on these legislators' doors and ask them and demand that they support this bill, particularly those that are Black. We also have a rally scheduled for February the 6th. We're asking Pastor, if you so will, join us at the Capitol. Speak. Let this congregation's voice be heard, because this is a bill that has to pass. Ultimately, the job of reparation is the federal government. But guess what? We can push from the bottom up. If we push on the ground, we will force their hand to ultimately do what this nation is supposed to do for all of us. The states can only do so much, but we'll take it. We'll take it. So again, join us at the Capitol on February the 6th. And lastly, please go to our website and support this movement. This takes resources. We're traveling around the state. We're knocking on doors. We're trying to do everything we can to make sure this House bill is passed. Session starts in January. We have until March to get it done. So we have a short window of time, and we need a whole lot of support. So again, my name is Tamara Johnson Shealy. This is House Bill 89. Our initiative is Reparations Sunday. We have T-shirts, reparations for those of us who are descendants of chattel slavery, as a part of the donation, and my book, Faith, Purpose, and Politics, Running the Race of My Life. So thank you again